So, welcome everybody to our class about horse-guided empowerment. And today I will share with you what you need to get started, how you can facilitate sessions in emotional healing, in coaching, in team building with horses, what your horses need, what you need, what pitfalls you should avoid so that everything goes smoother. And I really want this to be an interactive conversation. So please, whenever you have a question, whenever you want to add a comment, raise your hand, unmute yourself. Let's have a group discussion. And I'm super excited because we have people from all over the world, from Abu Dhabi to Bulgaria, to Costa Rica, to Mexico, to Chile. So welcome. Thank you for being here. And I'm excited to lead you through this class. And thank you for telling me about my microphone. That would have been devastating. We do need a functioning microphone. Okay, so let's dive right in. And while I get started, it would be wonderful if you could share in the chat where you're from, maybe what you're doing, if you already have experience with horses. Some people here are already colleagues. We have equine therapy practitioners, we have coaches. So please let everybody know what you're doing, why you're here, where you're connecting from. My name is Christina Marz. I'm the founder of Horse Guided Empowerment. In Spanish, the name is Empoderamiento con Caballos. And I'm teaching this method for the past 7 years, more or less, all over the world. We have reached about 30 countries. Yay, I'm super proud of this. And I'm going to share the world map because it's so amazing. I love this. We are everywhere in Latin America, in Europe, in the Middle East, in Indonesia, and all the way over to Canada and down to the south parts of Chile. So I'm very happy to have you all here and join me on this exploration of why horses, what they can do for us. And I would like to say a little bit more about me. So I have a background in psychology. I studied holistic psychology in Germany and then in the United States. And then ongoing, I'm a big Mindvalley fan, as you can see here. I'm a Mindvalley speaker as well. I was invited to the community event in Mexico in May, and I'm going back to speak at the Mindvalley stage in Colombia in November. So if somebody wants to join, please let me know. That would be wonderful. And I live here on my farm with my herd of 6 rescued horses. I have 3 teenage boys that I homeschooled. And I'm dedicating my life to spreading the word that horses can do so much for our emotional well-being, for our assertiveness, for our intuition. I think intuition is really important in today's electronic AI-governed world. And I also have a social therapy center. It's called Sin Miedo. That means no fear. And we give therapies, psychological counseling, speech therapy, and also interventions with horses to people here in our little town in Cotacachi in Ecuador. It's financed partially by a foundation, and it's my philanthropic giving back to the world. It's a beautiful work. It's sometimes a little hard, but I really enjoy working with people from all walks of life. So I have students who are coaches, who have big herds. I work with people who have nothing and need help to get through domestic violence. And the balance between all these different clients is really heartwarming and giving back so much to me. I also teach a modality that is called holistic equine therapy. This is our little logo here. And that is about mounted exercises, where we usually work with special needs people, with young children. And it's a different way of doing classical equine therapy, where the horses have more of a say and work together with us more, instead of being mostly a vehicle that transmits the motion patterns. So, horse-guided empowerment. We will explore this from all different sides, but let me have a quick look into the chat. So here we are. Yes, Bulgaria and working with special needs, people of determination. Awesome. Liana from Costa Rica, horse owner and horse enthusiast. Beautiful. Oh, Ecuador. Hi, Juan Carlos. Awesome. He's practically my neighbor, just a couple of kilometers away. Marta Lucia, also from Ecuador. Rim in Abu Dhabi. Very, very nice. Great. So Spanish speakers, Ecuadorians. I also do this in Spanish. And I'm very proud of you that you're here and that you are doing the English version. But if you have any questions later, please reach out. I have a recorded version of this class in Spanish as well, so I can send that to you if there is some language issues. Okay, I have published a total of 6 books, actually, several translations in there about horse-guided empowerment. You can see it back here. It's the manual of the method that I also use in my teaching groups. Then I have a smaller book, which is called True Tales from the Herd. And we just launched a podcast with the same title, Tales from the Herd, where we talk about different things that occur in session, where we talk about horses in general, about different practitioners. And I really recommend it to people who want to understand from a very practical point of view. So how is a session? Right? What do you do in a session? What do the horses do and how do people feel? So these two, the book and the podcast that is on Spotify, is a very good way to get into that. But done with the marketing, let's dive right in. You are here because you want to know more about horse-guided empowerment. So I have promised you on social media and everywhere that we're talking about 4 different areas. I will share 5 activities that you can do with your horses, with any horse, right away, and you can also use them for sessions. I will share 4 pitfalls, 4 a little bit of mindset, a little bit of strategy, but pitfalls that you could and should avoid if you are in this area of coaching and healing with horses. I will also share, most important, 3 keys to success that will help you. There is somebody.
Ya se va, ¿no?
Let me mute you. Sorry. Okay. I will also share three keys to success. And those are little things that have proven to be really helpful in getting the business going and also selling the services. You know, it's one part to learn how to do it, and another one is how to sell it and how to get going. And then we will start with 2 innovative ideas that kind of are the foundation of what horse-guided empowerment is. So for me, it is way more than coaching with horses or equine therapy. We work with a group of horses, not just one, but a group, a herd of horses, at least 2, but you could have 6, 10. We have had sessions with 40 horses, and we have a retreat in Georgia with 100 horses. So there is no limit, but you can start with 2 or 3, whatever you have available. And the herd and the interactions of the herd are a projection screen for your inner landscape. So you will, as a client, as a participant in workshops or retreats or sessions, you will watch the horses, observe the horses, and you will project your own relationships onto their behavior and interactions. And then that will give you a feedback about how you build relationships. What are your affirmations, your beliefs? And then you can change them and you can test them. So, practical example. Somebody says, I really want to raise, but I don't dare asking my boss. So we will find in the herd of horses, a horse that represents your boss, right? Maybe it's the biggest one, the most intimidating looking one, or the one that is not even looking at you, or the one that is bossing everybody around. You will find a horse that represents somebody in your life, and then you will practice working with them, talking to them, leading them. And you will learn that it's about your own mindset that determines the outcome of this interaction. Sounds crazy? It's magical. It's magical how this works in a session. The best part of it is that there is no set structure where we have always the same activities or where everybody does the same. It's about an interaction where the horses respond to your emotional state of mind, to your thoughts. Horses communicate telepathically with emotional messages. They teach each other and they tell each other in silence if something is safe, if something is dubious, not really true, if something is a lie, and they will react to it. So you will understand what you really want, what your authentic being actually wants to achieve in a given situation or a problem. And that's what we lay out onto the herd. They give you feedback, and then we practice the new behavior right there. And that creates really profound new experiences and new behavior. And then second, I believe that the space, the place where we do our sessions, contributes a lot of inspiration and a lot of sensory stimulation. So some schools or some methods really don't care where they work. They go into any paddock in the riding school or into an indoor arena. And sometimes that is necessary because of the climate, right? We have somebody here in Abu Dhabi, they would melt if they go outside right now. They need to be indoors. But you can always contribute something through sensory stimulation with your environment. So we try to use natural materials. We have several horses present. The horses themselves are a sensory stimulation because we touch them, we smell them, we see them, and they also contribute with their heart coherence field. They have a special emotional state, which is about calmness, about curiosity, and about connection. The herd is an emotional unit that is connected, and they invite us to be part of it. So when you're close to them, you will adapt the state of curious connection, calmness, and that helps us to go deeper into any personal topic and understand better what really is going on inside of you and what you need to change what is holding you back. So the place and the whole setup is a really big part of our sessions. It stimulates our senses and it contributes to the inspiration. And in my course, you will learn all about this, how to set up the place, how to change the place, how to put together the herd that you're working with. Okay, so here we have the parts that separate us from other modalities where there is more preset structure and the horses are not really asked to give us their opinion and to share their own emotional unit. In horse guide empowerment, that is the foundation. That is the most important part. And we achieve it through natural horsemanship, through a combination of psychology, coaching, question techniques, etc. But the horses guide us, the facilitators, and also to the clients. But the horses are the main ingredient to our therapies. Okay, so innovative ideas, done. That's the easy part. Now let's go into the activities. You're here because you want to have something super specific, right? So let's learn about what are actually activities that you can do with horses and work on self-development, coaching, trauma, anxiety, depression. There is really a huge range of symptoms, of situations that are where horses are beneficial for our clients. So the 5 activities that I have brought to you today. There is somebody unmuted. Let me here. Okay. Here we are. Okay, so the activities that I have brought to you today are first describe me, and we will do this right now, right here. Are you up for something practical? Yes. Okay. All right. So let's do this right away. Then we will talk about sharing territory. That is a foundational activity that everybody needs to learn and practice when they start with me and when they start to facilitate coaching and healing with horses. Then I will tell you about the hula hoop oracle. That is an amazing activity that you can do with any horse in your riding school, a horse that hasn't gone through a lot of training, but they will give you a great insight about a question that you have. And then we will talk a little bit about the energy hug and about moving the herd. And those two are also part of the Trust and Connection workbook that I have shared with you and that you can download on my website. So if you haven't done this yet, you should do it. I'll share the link again and also in the description of the recording so that you can have the step-by-step guide how to get started with this activity, what can happen, what you can do to fix it, and what it is for. But let's start with the describe me. So everybody take out a piece of paper and a pen. And then I want you to think about a horse that has inspired you. Usually it's easiest if we take a movie horse that we all know or from a book, but you could also use a horse in your barn, a horse that has somehow touched your heart. Write down the name. So that could be Spirit from the movie, or it could be Secretariat, the big running horse, the race horse. It could be Gandalf's horse. It could be a horse that you met in your barn. Write down his or her name. And then write down the answers to the following questions that I will give you. So first of all, describe in 2 phrases, how is this horse? What does he or she look like? You can start with physical traits. You can start with, is it big, small, impressive, dominant, something that comes to your mind when you think about this horse. Write it down. Only in your mind, it's not going to work. Please write it down. 1 or 2 sentences of a horse that has inspired you. And then the next question is, what is this horse motivated by? What does he or she like? What is he or she looking for? What do they need to be happy, to feel fulfilled, to be calm, to be connected? What are they striving for? So very often these are words like freedom or independence or running wild or being together with their herd and their loved ones or anything that you come up with. What is your horse that has inspired you, that is in your mind? Maybe because you watched a movie as a child. For example, one of my favorite ones is the Black Stallion. Who loves the Black Stallion? I love it. I love the movie, the first one especially. So your horse might be inspired like the Black Stallion by freedom, by space, by exploring, by teaming up with somebody they love. Write it down. 3rd question. What is your horse afraid of? What are they trying to avoid? So the Black Stallion, for example, is avoiding to be confined, to be in a small space. He's avoiding to be punished. Avoiding to be alone. So what is your horse, the one that you picked for this exercise? What is he or she avoiding? What are they scared of? And the last question, if you would give this horse a message, like an affirmation or like a suggestion to be better, to live a better life, what would you tell them? What would you tell them? What is your recommendation? Maybe it's hang in there, it's going to get better, or don't fight too hard, or maybe it's think about the others. They also mean well. Give them a chance. What is your message? Write it down. It's not working if you only have this in your head. Write it down. And if you want to come back to that, don't worry, you always can. The exercise is really simple. Okay, everybody has written down the answers? Yes? Yes, okay. Wonderful. All right. Yes, thumbs up. That's what we want to hear. Okay, so take a deep breath and read your answers. Maybe you want to read it out loud, maybe in silence. Read these answers again and think about, what does that have to do with you? Where do you find yourself in these answers? What are you projecting onto this horse that is in fact about you? So in my case, black stallion, freedom lover, wants to be independent, afraid of confined spaces, afraid of being alone. That's me. That's why I developed my own methodology. That's why I live on a farm out in the mountains in Ecuador. That's why I do things differently. And freedom is really important for me. And sometimes my message would be something like, don't fight too hard. Let it flow, right? Sometimes I exhaust myself fighting for my freedom when I could just sit back and say, I'm doing my thing. You go ahead. I'm doing my thing. So Arim is saying that's yes. So you have known this exercise before. I guess you have done it in a session, and it's always an insight. If you manage to go into this exercise and really write down what you think this horse is afraid of, this horse is avoiding, this horse is looking for, you will find yourself in this. Okay, so why? Why? Well, first of all, you're here because you are a horse lover. So it's easy for you to project your things onto a horse, and you are impressed by their strength, by their beauty, by their actions. So it's easy for you to do that. But it turned out it's easy for everybody. And we don't really know why, but it's different. This exercise does not work with dogs, not even with movie dogs, because dogs are much more interested in pleasing us. So the traits that we project onto them come from a different area. Horses have this vibe of being independent, of being free, and that's why they invite you to project your real authentic thoughts onto them. And then you will pick a horse that was in the movie, in a situation that somehow touched you. And I have done this exercises with hundreds of people in like big, from the stage with a big audience, in small classes like here on Zoom. I've done it with clients, with students. Everybody has a different description. And even if you would all describe the same horse, let's say Spirit, one of the most known movie horses, you would all come up with a different description and with different traits that are important for you. So I invite you to maybe go back to this activity and do it again with a lot of time and really going a little deeper inside your emotions to find out what is it that is actually driving you and what is holding you back. And the message that you wrote down for your movie horse, that message has a very nice place on your mirror, in your phone, in your office as a daily affirmation, because it probably has a lot for you in it, a lot of teaching, a lot of wisdom. And it came from you, inside of you. And that is something that we also use in our sessions. We help people to project onto the horses and to find the wisdom within themselves. To get there, the second activity that I recommend you do as soon as you can with your horses is sharing territory, and that means doing nothing. Yay, great exercise. You're like, yeah, Christina, wow, so cool. And one activity is doing nothing, but it is a very important activity because with horses, we always have a plan. We go out there to the paddock and we're like, today we're practicing canter lead changes, or today I'm brushing you and I'm trimming your hooves, and all the things that we have to do with our horses and want to do with our horses in training and riding. And what we miss is this connection, this interaction without a plan. If you don't have a plan, the horses can share their own needs and they will come to you from their own interest, from their own choice, and they will connect with you and they will stand next to you. They might lay down next to you and they will do all kinds of things that they have never done before because you didn't give them time. If you do this for the first time, plan about 30 minutes. And if the horses don't even look at you, do it several times during the week. Some horses need a lot of invitation to trust because they are used to being bossed around and handled and maybe treated in a slightly violent way. I'm not saying that you're violent, but in a lot of barns, there is horse handlers, there's grooms who just boss the horses around and pull on them all day long. So they avoid our presence. But if you are there doing nothing, and I mean nothing, take a book maybe or a knitting project, but do not put your attention onto the horses. Let them come without any need and expectations. And the most beautiful encounters will happen. In the workbook, the Trust and Connection workbook that comes with this class, there is also a description and a step-by-step guide how to do this sharing territory exercise. It's the first step that everybody has to do when we start working with the horses in a healing or coaching environment. The horses need to learn that their opinion is wanted and respected. So do this first, sharing territory. Once you have done this, and the horses know that they're allowed to give you their opinion, then we go into the hula hoop oracle. And that is a fantastic 2-minute exercise that will blow your mind. So let's go into this one step by step. The hula hoop oracle. What you need is a horse, a halter, and a lead rope, like here. And then you need a hula hoop. You know, just a regular one. Maybe you have it in your garage from your kids, or you buy one for $2.50. It's a really small investment. Get one. You take this hula hoop and then you think about a meaning for it. Think about a goal or a wish. So that could be, I want to have a better job. I want to make more money. Or my goal, my wish is to have more time for my family. Or I'm really wondering how I could have a better connection, a better relationship to my kids or to my partner, right? So think about a goal that you have in your life. Maybe it came from the movie horse description. Maybe you are aware of a theme in your life that you are often scared or often too harsh or often too laid back. So turn this into a goal for your life, self-coaching. And then you take the hula hoop and you put it anywhere in the paddock. And your task is to bring the horse to stand with their 2 front feet inside the hula hoop. Once you manage to do that, your goal will come true. You're changing your mindset from, oh, so difficult to achieve, to, yes, I know how to achieve this. Okay? So you're leading the horse there, and everything that happens with your goal in mind and with this activity as a self-coaching activity, not as a horse training activity. Everything that happens will have a meaning for you, and you will interpret it. You will tell yourself or journal, how did it go? What did happen? Why did that happen? And how does the process contribute to your belief system? So let's do a practical exercise, a practical example for this, okay? This guy here in the picture, a workshop participant, he decided that the hula hoop was changing his job. His goal was to change his job and to have a job that would allow him to be happier, and then everything would be better. So his belief was, my job is directly diminishing my happiness and the lookout of my life. So I will change my job and then I will be happier. It's hard to find a new job, but the hula hoop will represent, I have a new job and I'm happier and everything is better. So the horse walked easily to the hula hoop. And then instead of standing with his 2 front feet inside the hula hoop, the horse ended up like this. Can you see this in the picture? So the horse is standing, balancing, tiptoeing on the rim of the hula hoop. That's actually a lot harder than just stepping inside, right? But the horse would not step inside. He was just tiptoeing around outside, then on the rim, then a little bit inside, but then on the rim again. And we couldn't get him to step inside the hula hoop. Why? So I asked the guy, I said, what is going on here? What is happening? Tell me, what does this tell you? And he said, you know what? Actually, I thought it was much harder to get to the new job. I thought it would be so hard to lead the horse to the hula hoop, but that wasn't hard at all. But now I see that it's not going to help me. Having a new job and being there full on, that's not going to contribute to my happiness. My happiness comes from something else. So I'm not fully convinced of this. And the horse standing on the rim and not even wanting to step inside, that's completely how I feel, because I'm not convinced of changing my job and then I'll be happier. So in this little example, I want to show you that everything is possible. Some horses stop in right away and it's like, oh yeah, my goal is actually much easier to achieve than I thought. Some horses will get scared of the hula hoop. They are scared because you are scared of your goal. Example of this, I had a girl in a session recently, and she said, my goal is being financially independent and making more money. And the horse was so scared of that goal. He was pulling away and going in the different direction and not even allowing her to get close to her hula hoop. And I asked her, what is going on? Isn't that something that you want? And she said, yeah, I do want it, but I'm so scared of it. Because I believe that if I am financially independent and if I'm making a lot of money, then my family will take it from me because they have ruined other family members. So I prefer to be low profile and not even making a lot so that they don't have access to it and can ruin me. Very rational thought, but that was her fear, and it was directly projected onto the horse. I coached her through it. She let go of it, and then the horse was standing inside. He was actually pushing her towards the hula hoop. That was really neat. I wish I had a video of this, but he was pushing her. So try this. Take a hula hoop, charge it with your goal, put it anywhere in the paddock, lead the horse there and see what happens. If you need help with the interpretation, write to me, let me know what happened, and I'll help you, I'll guide you to understanding what the hula hoop oracle is actually telling you. But the interpretation always has to come from you. It's not my thing, right? It's your life, your exercise, your interpretation. And that's how we do all our sessions. It's not that you will learn, oh, so the horse is doing this and it means that, or the horse is riding in the sand, you should quit your job. No, the interpretation comes from the client, not from the facilitator. Okay, so you will learn in this course, step by step, how to get there, how to ask the right questions, and how to offer the right activities that will lead the client to understand what their authentic self actually wants. Okay. Who wants to hear our fourth activity, the energy hug? That is one of our most loved activities, and I do it all the time with my herd. We had a challenge once, I think 2 years ago, where people all over the world were hugging their horses, and we were creating this movement. It was beautiful to see. It's a wonderful, wonderful activity, and it looks like this. So what you want to do is stand in front of your horse. Maybe you want an assistant who is holding the lead rope, but usually when you are connected and you know the horses and you pick a calm one, they will just stand if you let the lead rope drop down to the ground. And then you put your hands in the position that you see here on this picture, right? So you don't hug the horse like this, right? Because horses are claustrophobic and they don't like to be held tight like that. You will just put your hands there and the horse will be close to you. Sometimes there is a meter distance, sometimes they're really close. It can build up with time. You put your hands there. It's a special point where meridians cross. It's an energetic, important point. If you know about acupressure, acupuncture, you can research it. It's also a point that represents the human-animal connection. And it's a point that makes us easy to tap into the emotions of the horse and to connect with them on an emotional level. If you are in your mind, and if you're thinking like, oh, am I doing this right? I should call Christina. I don't know what to do. It's not going to work. You need to be relaxed, calm. So breathe, put your hands there. Breathe. And initiate an intention to connect and an intention to feel the horse and to receive their message, their emotional transmission, their message for you. A lot of people start to cry when they do this. That's okay. A lot of people have really strong sensation in their hands. So if you are, for example, if you're a Reiki practitioner and you are trained to feel energy through your hands, that can happen and it can be overwhelming. If that is the case, like shake out your hands, take a deep breath and go in again. Some horses, if they do this for the first time, can also be overwhelmed and they like go back and they're like, what is going on? Because they're not expecting it. So you need to build it up. This is not the first activity that you should do. Start with sharing territory, and more sharing territory. Those are the most important foundational activities that you should do to start on this path of trust and connection with your horses. And then when you have this pattern going where the horses come, where you feel good in their presence, then you can start doing things like the energy hug. In your workbook, the Trust and Connection workbook that I sent to you, you also find a description of the energy hug. What you're looking for is something like this. Very often, the horse here is a little more focused on the photographer and on the, stuff that is going on around them. But when they are going into this hug and connecting with you, their head will drop. They probably rest their head on your shoulder. They close their eyes The ears come down, they are soft and floppy. Maybe the lip is hanging down, and you will see from outside how the two are really melting together. It's a beautiful exercise that you can try with your clients, special needs, adults, kids, all of them, but do it first with your horses and yourself. Okay? And have fun. I love this activity. It's beautiful, and there is so much coming out of it. Okay. Number 5, moving the herd. Okay, so I wish we could do this here together. Moving the herd is so amazing. It is an activity such as the energy hug, an activity that is specific to horse-guided empowerment. You won't hear that in any other modality. And the energy hug is something for calmness, for introspection, for connectedness. And moving the herd is for connection as well, but in the contrary way, we are getting active and we are actually moving the horses. And it looks like this. This is my wonderful colleague, Monica, in Dubai. She's also a mentor for my students, and we work together in a lot of projects. And here, Monica is testing a new herd in the desert of Abu Dhabi, and she's moving them to create connection. So the first reason why we do this is connection. Now, if you come from the regular, the classical horse world, you might think that, oh, how can chasing the horses be for connection? It's not about chasing the horses. It's about transmitting your energy and creating an idea, an intention of movement. See, she doesn't have a whip or anything, and projecting that energy onto the group of horses and together creating this fun, active, joyful movement together, where the horses will start to run and bolt and buck and express themselves in the most beautiful way. There's something in the chat here. Let me see. Monica, oh yeah, you know Monica. Oh yes, awesome. Alrim was with Monica in Zanzibar, and yes, that is a retreat that is on my bucket list as well. And I'll show you a picture of it later in this class because I love it so much. So yes. So connecting with the herd and also connecting the herd members. Horses in the wild, in nature, run together. It's part of their daily activities, of their daily behavior. They run together. In our world, if horses have the chance to hang out together, we usually want them to be calm. We don't want them to get hurt. So they have small spaces. We don't want them to, go crazy. So they never have this experience of running together. The bigger riding arenas or, the paddocks where you do your riding lessons are for just one horse at a time or for several horses that are ridden and controlled. That is different. That's not running together. That is each one running separately, right? Galloping, cantering under the rider's directions. This is several horses in a big paddock running and expressing themselves similar to how they do it in nature. And it is the most amazing, best activity that I do, for example, with rescued horses that I want to integrate into the herd. I have them run together. So they connect to me, we create rapport, they also get a little fit, and they connect to the other herd members. So you connect, you strengthen the bonds, their fitness, the rapport, and you also strengthen your leadership. It's not about aggression at all. At all. You're not chasing the horses. You're not being violent and yelling and screaming. No, it's about your mind. You become like a Jedi, like a horse Jedi who's projecting the force, the energy, the movement onto the horses. And then you just give them like an encouragement with your hand, with your body. You move your shoulders, you move your hips, you think movement, and they will move. it takes a while. Okay, it takes a while. It's not going to happen in the first moment, but everybody can learn this. And I know it because I have brought over 500 students in like 30 countries through this activity. And everybody in the beginning says, no, it didn't work. I couldn't do it. My horses don't work for that. And in the end, they're like, yes, yay. It was awesome. It's so energizing when you do this. Moving the herd is a wonderful preparation for complex activities. So if you want to create a better bond, a better rapport with your herd, with your horses, 1, 2, 3, 50, whatever you have, move them together in a big enough paddock. And you also prepare leisure time, because after this, you are energized, the horses are energized, but they are also together with you, and they will enjoy everything that you do afterwards better. They are more motivated. They are on the spot, ready to do something for you. So you will have so much fun after doing this. If you move the herd before you go ride, and then you do an energy hug, and then you do your training lesson, I guarantee that your outcome will be tenfold better. Horses are emotional, social creatures, and we need to talk to them like that. In social movement, with emotional direction, not with whips and spurs and reins and stuff like that. Not necessary. Try it this way. For your riding, for your equine therapy, for your coaching, for your healing, the approach is so much closer to the horse's nature that it will create much better results. Give it a try. And if you need help, tell me. I'm here. I have mentors. We will answer your questions. We will tell you some more tips and tricks, and also read the Trust and Connection workbook, because everything there is step by step with troubleshooting and pitfalls and what to expect, etc. So there you have everything that I cannot give you in a short Zoom class. You have everything laid out directly. And then if you join my course, of course, then we will go through it step by step and make it happen with your horses. Okay. Now, we talked about activities. We talked about the foundation. We have left pitfalls, and we have left keys to success. And those are, I guess, one of the important parts that you want to hear while you are here, while you're listening to this class. And the keys to success are my findings from many years of doing this. I came into the horse world when I was like 5. I was fascinated by horses, completely fascinated. They helped me grow. They helped me regulate my emotions. They helped me find my voice, my leadership, my assertiveness. And then I made it a job. So I studied psychology, and then I came back to horses. And now I work with clients one-on-one. I lead retreats. I have certification courses in 3 languages. So everything in my life is around horses. And I have found some keys to success that really make a difference. So let's go through these. Okay, are you ready? It might help to take some notes here. Okay, so this picture is from the retreat in Georgia that I told you about, with about 100 free roaming horses. And when I say free roaming, a lot of people imagine like, yeah, it's going to be a big pasture. No, there is no fence. If you look at this picture, there is no fence. They are roaming on about 5 square kilometers. And when you want to work with them, you have to actually first find them. And sometimes they're far away. So there's transportation. They can also go on horseback. And then they start working with these horses. And Monica, again, in this picture, always my best case study example. Monica is leading a session without any boundaries. And why does it work? Because she has certainty. She knows that there is a structure that always works. And she knows that it's safe to conduct this. The horses are not running over anybody. You don't have to control them. You don't have to be afraid that they won't participate. She has the certainty that this is going to work. And of course, she wasn't born with that, I guess. Me neither, right? Nobody was born with this certainty, but there is a lot of ways to gain this certainty. If you don't have it, if you go into the session and want to do coaching, healing with horses with a client, and you are doubting, like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. My horses are not ready for this. This is not going to work. Then it's not going to work because the horses pick this up. If you have an intention of, I'm helping this client in their self-development and in finding their barriers and bringing them to success, then it will work. So you need a lot of trust, and you gain this trust by having a structure, knowing what to do when, and also by feeling safe. Second key to success is evidence. If you have the evidence, you come to certainty. And evidence, as I've learned, I didn't come up with this, but I've learned this in other mentoring classes. Evidence for your clients and for yourself is built with community and with consistency. So horse-guided empowerment is not something that we invented yesterday. This is me and my horse Flamenco 15 years ago. 15 years ago. This was the first time that I actually talked to a group of people about the healing power and the coaching activities with horses. And it's the same horse in this picture. And this was about a year ago in a HeartMath training. And he's still here. He's still with me. And this is me on my farm. And I'm handing out the diplomas, the certificates to the participants after 15 years doing this and developing it and changing it and making it better. So there is consistency. For you, the key to success when you start this and when you start selling your services is also consistency. So here, for example, you can see my Instagram screenshots, and you will see that I'm always using the same colors, that I'm always using the same horses, that I show my face and my horses, and that is consistent. And people like that. It gives trust. It builds trust. So if you can create an evidence of being consistent or tapping into a system that has been consistent, your clients will trust you, you will trust yourself, and your results will be better. So that's a huge, huge key part to your success. Don't try to change it. Today I'm doing this, tomorrow I'm doing that. Now this is the go-to thing, and now that. Be consistent in your approach and in your sessions and in your communication. And community will help you transmit that, will help you communicate that. So this one on the left here, that is a screenshot from our international community. These are all, some of the people that have certified, and I always promote them. I always publish when they have certified. And if you do the same, if you come into my course, you will come into that community, and you will be able to tell your clients, well, this is a methodology that has been consistent for many years, 15 years, and is spread over the entire planet. It's present in many countries, and there is a community behind it that backs it up. That is really important. When you start alone, and I know that because I started alone, because like the Black Stallion, I wanted to be free and do something different. It's really hard. It's really hard. And coming up with all this consistency with the best activities and everything that works took a long, long, long time. But now we got it. And now we can deliver it to you in the way that it works best. So you can cut short, and you don't have to do 15 years of trial and error and finding your tribe. There is a tribe that you will love, They are my best friends. I met Monica in the course. She's one of my best friends, right? And there's a lot of others here in this picture, people I love and I spend a lot of time with because we met over the same ideals, over the same philosophies. And you can tap into that. Okay, now we need our third key to success, and that is strategy. So if you don't have a strategy to deal with everything that will fall from the sky onto your desk or onto your paddock, it will cost you a long time to fix it. And in this endeavor of working, coaching, healing with horses, there's a couple of elements that make it harder. These elements also make it more passionate. You love horses. That's why you're here. Welcome again. But that also makes it harder because it's not only about teaching yourself how to do coaching. You also need to teach your herd. You also need to handle your herd and your horses in a different way. So you want strategies for horse handling, for support and mentoring, for sales, for building programs, for resolving problems, for your own growth. We receive questions every day about, what do you suggest for a client who is bipolar? What could I do because my horse has this allergic rash? How can I increase the sales for my retreat? What is the best product or a structure for a company workshop with 30 people? And what is the best one for a company workshop with high executives that is like an assessment center for just 5 high achievers? All these questions come to my desk and to our mentors every day, all the time, for many, many, many years. And we have a strategy and we have consistency and we solve these problems in the community with experts from different places. And that's why we have the endorsement from an example, for example, a university, and also the UNESCO chair for inclusion. So UNESCO, big name, they went through the curriculum and they said, wow, this is different because it actually works with everybody and for everybody. So you don't even need to use words. You could work with a practitioner who is nonverbal or with a client who is nonverbal, because the horses are the connecting part of this. And these strategies helped us to have the position that we have now in the world and why we are loved by a lot of big companies. For example, PricewaterhouseCoopers, who has heard of them? Coaching firm. Huge coaching firm all over the world. And we did a program for them in Dubai a couple of years ago. And well, they say an experience you will remember for life, and they guarantee it, which is kind of cool because they're not even leading it, but they guarantee it. And they're selling the program to their clients. And company workshops, team workshops are very often an important part of your portfolio. So a lot of our colleagues work in one-on-one sessions or in retreats, but company workshops really are a deal breaker to meet your costs. Having a herd of horses is expensive. Dealing with horses is expensive. So if you can facilitate team workshops with several people there, you can really make a better income for you and for your horses than with one-on-one sessions. I think a balance is best. I love one-on-one. I love it. And I love retreats. But company workshops are really good to like level it out. And we'll help you, to find how to get the proposal done, how to create the objectives, how to schedule your day or half day or 3-day or whatever you're selling, what kind of activities work best. It's different if you have a teenager with depression or a corporate team, right? There's different activities involved in that. For companies, little hint, moving the herd is brilliant. It's the best activity. Energy hog, no. Moving the herd, yes. The depressive teenager will do an energy hug first and moving the herd at the end of their therapy in a couple of weeks, right? The company jumps in with moving the herd right away in the first half hour. And also, we'll give you a lot of help with, how to design the materials that you need to advertise, to market, to sell your services, and to present yourself in the market. We'll create your niche and everything that you need to get going. Okay. All right. And then we have just briefly talked about the retreat in Zanzibar. So let me pull out that picture because it's just so nice. Can you believe it? Can you believe this color of the sea? It's just amazing. I wish I was there. So we have, as I said, there's this international community, and there is case studies and examples and practitioners all over the world. And it's one part that is so exciting for me personally. It's maybe not the smartest marketing move for the coaches here. Usually it's first work with one country and then expand. I'm like, no, I want to be everywhere. I am so thrilled when somebody writes to me from an exotic country, from a place really far away. So we have case studies, colleagues, and people, experts to answer your questions in Germany, in Zanzibar. There's a retreat there. If you are in the region, you should reach out and learn more about it. It's one of the best retreats that we have. There's people in Ecuador, there's people in Dubai, there's people in Uruguay, there's people in Egypt, and in every other country that you can imagine. And I think it's one of the richest parts of our community that we really want to work together, because there's horses everywhere on the planet, and there's people with depression, with anxiety, with self-doubt, with decision-making problems everywhere, all over the world. But every culture is a little different. So facilitating in Egypt is different than in Uruguay. But there is already somebody who can guide you and who can help you. And learning from each other in the different groups is so enriching for me and for the facilitators and the students that I wouldn't want to miss it. So it's a big part of who we are, this international structure. Okay. Let's look at this again. Who wants to go to Zanzibar? Yeah, let's all go to Zanzibar. It's going to be amazing. They do this every year. So if you have time for a retreat, this is your place. Or also Georgia. Remember this one? This is a Georgia retreat with 100 horses on vast plains, very different surroundings, but also spectacular. And then I also have a retreat here in Ecuador, but it's in Spanish at the end of August. So if somebody speaks Spanish and has time in a couple of weeks, in 1 month, actually, we start in 1 month from today. There are still 2 places left. Chat message. Juan Carlos. Okay, all right. Then you will let me know if you want to come. We have 2 places left. Okay. Now I have promised to talk about the pitfalls. It's less exciting, right? It's less exciting than the keys to success and the activities, but it's something really important because there's a lot of people who get started, in coaching, constellations with horses, healing with horses, etc. And then they give up. They invest in a course and then it doesn't work out as they thought it would, and then they give up. And that is really not necessary. There is a lot of pitfalls and it's not too difficult to avoid them. So let's go into 4 that I think are the most important ones. And maybe you find yourself in them and maybe I can guide you towards a solution. So the first pitfall that I hear all the time, potfall. Okay, that's a very funny typo here. We wanted to say pitfall, number 1. And that is lack of discipline. And I know, I get it, right? I get it. Many of you here are parents, are moms, have another job. So this is just a side hustle. You need to take care of your horses. You also want to ride. So it sounds super interesting to lead coaching sessions and to make money with it. But then the clients didn't show up, the retreat didn't fill, so boring. Or you set a price, and then you find out that you're not really making any profit with this, but accounting, oh, too boring, not going to do it, so I'm giving up. You need discipline. I'm sorry if this is a bummer, but you need discipline to succeed in this, because you have to juggle a lot of different parts, and accounting is an important one. You need to have enough money to buy hay, and you also sometimes want to run an ad or something. So you need to be disciplined, and you need to be consistent. The more you commit to something, the more you commit to your niche, the better it will work. But it's usually not like took a course, came home, yay, all fine. No, you need discipline. And that's why in my course, we start working with clients right away. So in the 4th class, you already have an experience with a client. I'll push you, I'll motivate you to get going from the beginning, not after the course when you go home. You start working with your horses right away, day 1. And in the 3rd class, I tell you, okay, it's time to invite somebody, and you'll invite a friend, and we build your practice from there. And if the discipline is in place, the second thing that you need is a niche. The biggest mistake I see all the time, and I've made it too, no exception here, I've made it too, is I want to help everybody. This is so wonderful. I want to work with everybody. I want to help everyone. And if you don't have a clear niche, who you're working with, who you're talking to, who you are addressing, it's not gonna work. You have to start with a niche, a clear niche. Are you working with burned out moms, or with high achieving executives, or with special needs kids, or with couples, or whatever you want? Pick a niche that is close to your heart and that is accessible and available in your area, and get going with them. And then you can always build it. It doesn't mean that you will never work with another client, not at all. So my niche, my perfect client, is somebody who has studied coaching and or psychology, and has a lifelong history with horses, knows how to handle them, maybe has some experience riding, owns a couple of horses, or has access to a couple of horses that live outside in a herd. That's my ideal client. If they speak English and Spanish, like some of you here, yay, extra points. Everything I do is bilingual. So that's my ideal client. I also have students who go into a riding school and rent a horse for their sessions. They're welcome. But my ideal client, the one I'm talking to, is the person I just described. They have knowledge in psychology and coaching and in horses, and they have access to horses that live in a herd, right? It has to be clear. I'm not talking to the equestrian who is a jumper. Not my crowd, right? I talk to natural horsemanship people, to holistic practitioners, to those who love the herds, not to those who love, I don't know, gaining an award in a jumping competition. They are welcome. I don't have anything against them, but my communication is directed towards my ideal client. And that is the #1 pitfall that is so easy to avoid, so easy. So in my course, we will build a structure and find a niche that actually works for you. And then we'll build it up, and then you will deepen it and just develop it as you go through the 6 months of the course. Okay, and the third pitfall, also so easy to avoid, is the lack of authenticity. I've had so many people who are like, well, constellations with horses is really like on vogue right now, so that's what I'm going to do. But then you've never heard about systemic constellations before, you don't really believe in that. Why would you do it? Or somebody who says, oh, corporate coaching, that's the part where you make most money. But then you usually, light candles in your home, and you're on the alternative healing side, and you communicate with animals. Combining that with corporate workshops is really hard. If you are bringing in your authenticity, who you are, and you create your own offer, that's the miracle recipe. And it's so easy to avoid this pitfall, so easy. You don't do what everybody does. You develop your own service. So it could be a combination of yoga and horses, or coaching, mindfulness coaching, and horse-guided empowerment for companies, because that's where your heart is. Or assertiveness training for single moms, and natural writing classes, right? We will find your package and create it on the foundation of horse-guided empowerment. So I'll give you the plot, I'll give you the structure, I'll give you the community, the consistency, and then you will develop in the course what you want to offer. And not everybody will do the same. In fact, if we go back to our community here, lovely community here, they all do something different. They are in different places on the earth. And then if you scroll down in this Instagram account, you'll see people with all different backgrounds, and they all do their specific thing, and they developed it in this course. So be authentic. Whatever the modality is that you're working in, find your authentic style and deliver that, not doing what everybody else does. Oh, and by the way, this picture is from one of my colleagues in Sweden. And I love it how all the horses enjoy the same view, but then we don't want to do what everybody else does, okay? So we'll find our own view and create our own magic. And the last pitfall, I said there were 4 most important ones, but the last one is really not a big deal. Isn't that a good news, right? Perfect news. Pitfall number 4 is lack of conviction. And I brought you this slide from my speech at Mind Valley in May in Mexico, and I showed it to the audience. This is me many years ago, like 35 years ago, I think. And it was not the start of my love for horses, but it was it's a very important memory. We went to the same island every summer, and I connected to horses there. I learned a lot about horses, and that's when it started. And I really don't have any lack of conviction that horses are so important. And you're here, you're listening to this, so you don't lack of conviction either, but you do need it. So if you're doubting, like, yeah, horse is kind of cute, but not sure, this is not your thing. You need to be convicted. You need to be not convicted felon, right? What you need is, you need absolutely be convinced that this is the way to go, because it will be hard. There's a lot of practice, there's a lot of learning, and there's some days when you're like, why? When I'm like, why didn't I do something with rabbits? Cheaper, easier to handle than a herd of horses, right? But it's so beautiful and such a satisfying experience when the horses love it, your clients love it, and you help all of them, and everybody wins, and you do what you love, and you fulfill your passion. That if you are convinced, then this is the way for you to go. So those of you who are here right now, still listening, not cooking, not driving, listening and excited, and wanting to be right here in this field of horses, then you should consider going onto my course. I have a certification training for facilitators, and I'm running this for the 27th time. So we have done it a lot of times in 3 different languages and all over the world. And if you do this training one-on-one, like directly with me, either here in Ecuador or in private Zoom classes, the price would be $5,790. Some people want to do this. Some people want to have the absolute freedom and the absolute flexibility. And it's the perfect investment if you have a very specific need like a very specific outcome. You want to design a program that fits perfectly into your existing client, and you have very little time. So in the private training, what we do is we adapt the whole program, 160 hours of theory, teaching, practicing, supervision, reading, etc., where you practice with your own horses, or you come here to my place and we do it with my herd. And we gather all the information and we filter it so that it gets for you the best possible program. It's a little different than the group instruction because we will skip some things and add some things because it's a private course. In the end, you also get the certification as Horse Guided Empowerment Practitioner, but the course is geared towards you. Now, if you're like, you know what, I am completely convinced, but I don't have this money lying around, then probably the flexible training is your thing. And in the flexible training, you get everything that I talked about today and so much more. We talk about how to develop the coaching questions that you need, how to develop the activities that fit to your niche, how to find your niche, how to prepare your horses, and everything in between. And we guide you from 0 to 100 to certify. You can start at any time, And you go through the program. There is recorded lessons because we want everybody to get the same instruction. So there's videos of me with this background teaching, and a lot of extra materials. There's a book, this book that you see here in my background that you get. And then you have live mentoring. So for example, Monica, that you have seen in some of my pictures, and another colleague, Erin, they hold bi-weekly mentoring classes where you can connect to other students, ask your questions, and be guided from 0 to 100. And I also chip in, I supervise everything, and you can ask me questions directly. And that program costs $2,970. Okay, you can start today. It's about 6 months of practicing. You could do it faster. There's people who have done it in 3 months. If you have time and you want to go like full in, 3 months is doable. Usually it takes 5 to 6 months. And there is, of course, a bonus course. There always has to be a bonus course, right? No offer is worth it if there is no bonus course. So there is one, there's actually two. One is body language. I think body language is one of the most important ingredients to read your client and read your horses, and also help pace your client. You will learn how to use your body, your voice, your tone to induce certain feelings, to guide your client towards wanting something and towards connection. So body language, proxemics, voice modulation, etc., is an important part, and you'll get a bonus course to get this going. And then we also add another bonus course for marketing, social media stuff and marketing, and everything that you need to know to successfully put your product, your service out there after you have learned it. So there's actually 2 bonus courses. And as I really want all of you to be super excited and come into this program and become a student, and then become a friend and a colleague and spread the word and bring horse-guided empowerment to every corner of this world, to Bulgaria, to Costa Rica, to everywhere. For those of you who sign up this weekend, I will send you personally my 2 books. So Horse-Guided Empowerment and True Tales from the Herd, as a beautiful, real printed book to your doorstep. Okay? And but only this weekend. So if you sign up now or over the weekend, I'll put a message in the chat right now where you find the link with all the information about the course. Again, some of the things I walk you I walked you through. There's a testimonial from Price Waterhouse. So if you want to listen to the entire video they made with their experience, you'll find it on that page. And you can buy the course, and then you'll have to send me your address so that I can send you my books. And then on Monday, we'll start with the first lessons in the virtual classroom. And on Tuesday, you will connect to our mentoring group. And in 6 months, you'll certify and you will become a colleague of mine and hopefully join us on one of the retreats. So as a facilitator, you can come co-facilitate in Zanzibar or in Georgia, or create your own retreat and your own place. And if we want to come back to the keys to success, so all of these are part of the course, except one. You will only create safety for your clients and for yourself if you practice. So this is not a course that you just listen to and then you put it in the drawer and then you get a certificate because you ended, you completed all the lessons. You have to practice. There is no way around it. You can do it with your horses. We can pair you up with a mentor in your area, or you come to me or to one of the mentors. They're in different countries, and we get you going, but you have to practice with horses. Otherwise, you won't be able to certify. You have to prove that you're doing the work, okay? And that will lead you to safety, and we're taking care of all the rest. So if you are ready to come in this weekend, I'll send you my books to your doorstep, and you receive all the materials and the 2 bonus courses this weekend. If you have any questions, please let me know. Please write to me. I'll stay on a little bit longer in this call to answer your questions right away. And for everybody else who was here, thank you so much. This is not working here right now. Okay, let's bring this up a little bit. Okay. Technical difficulties. Oops. Okay, here we are. So thank you, everybody. Gracias. Thank you for coming, for listening, for being interested, for spreading the word that horses are so much more than riding partners. And I would love to have you in my course, on my retreats, and my workshops. Please write to me, and do not forget to download the guide. You need the ebook, Trust and Connection Guide, and that will get you started. The activities are in there, except the hula hoop oracle, but I explained that today. And I will also post the recording of this class in our little group so that you can come back and listen to the instructions again. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to close the recording now and answer your questions directly. Bye. Okay.